What was so strongly needed and so brilliantly and steadily personified by George Washington was perseverance. He would not give up. And that has also been true of Gerry Lenfest. He knew that it was going to be difficult to make this museum happen, but he never, ever gave up.
I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, but we only lived there a year before we moved to Scarsdale, New York. When I was 13, my father bought a working farm in New Jersey. But my mother died. I had a twin sister. She was sent away to school, and I stayed on the farm. It was on a dirt road, had no plumbing, no electricity. They took the silver spoon out and made me milk cows, which was not very nice for a Scarsdale boy. The farm was 9 miles away from high school, and if I didn't feel like going to high school, I didn't go. And it was too far for the truant officers to come out. So I was not doing very well in school, and my father sent me away to a place called Mercersburg Academy, which straightened me out. I enjoyed studying, became on the honor roll, and as a result was able to go to college. In college, I became part of a reserve officer candidate school, and when I graduated, I became an ensign in the Navy. I went to CIC school for 5 months in Glenview, Illinois, and then reported to a destroyer out of Norfolk, Virginia. When I took command of the USS Coates, who was a destroyer escort, had the poorest record of any ship in its squadron of 8 ships. And in 2 years, we became the top reserve destroyer escort. And the real truth is I did not do it, but the crew felt the ship belonged to them. And that type of motivation, they made the ship the success that it became. These were lessons in leadership that I think followed me the rest of my life. Marguerite's truly been a partner. We have 3 children, daughter and 2 sons, and 4 grandchildren. I met Marguerite when I was in high school. Later, when I was in college, I invited Marguerite to come to a big event they had at Washington and Lee. And she came, and that was the beginning of our relationship. We got married when I was in the Navy, and we've had a very wonderful partnership over the years. When I was at Davis Polk, the senior partner had represented the 7 Annenberg sisters. Walter Annenberg had 7 sisters, and Walter Annenberg and Walter Fletcher, the senior partner, became close associates. And Walter Annenberg called Walter Fletcher and said, I need another lawyer here in Philadelphia. And so I was sent to Philadelphia by Fletcher. And I became house counsel for Walter's company called Triangle Publications, which was then the largest privately owned communications company in the United States. And after 5 years of being a lawyer, I took over 17 Magazine, which is a teenage girls magazine, and Triangle's cable television properties. Having no previous experience with a teenage girls magazine, it was quite an interesting chapter in my life. After 3 years running the combined cable and the magazine, Walter Annenberg decided to sell the cable properties. And I saw an opportunity, went to Walter and said, could I buy 1 or more of your cable systems? And he laughed, said, you can, Gerry, but do you have any money? And I said, no, I don't, but I'd like to try. And I got 2 gentlemen in Lebanon, Pennsylvania to put up the money. On the commitment, I doubled our money in 5 years if we did buy the cable system. And 26 years later, we had 1,300,000 customers and sold the company for $7.6 billion. Not all of that, of course, was mine because we had debt and we had partners. But it was a rare opportunity that Walter Annenberg gave me.
became governor, I looked at the project, and I thought, there's no museum for the American Revolution anywhere in the country. And I decided it was a great project. So I asked Martha Snyder, who served as an unpaid advisor to arts and culture in the Commonwealth, to investigate and see what was happening. And Martha reported back to me that we needed a strong board member, and she recommended Gerry Lenfest.
Gerry was the right person to lead this. He understood how important it was, just not for the area, not for the country, but for the world, to understand how important the story of our nation was.
Gerry became chairman of the board, and the rest is history.
The main objective and what has caused my interest is that there's no museum in the United States dedicated to the revolution that brought this country into existence. I think the value of the museum to young people is and will be very important. You know, we all take freedom and our independence for granted, but we shouldn't. And the principles that they established in the War of Independence remain important today for our young generations.
And to take lessons in life, not just in history, from those people. And then you can walk into this fabulous new museum and look at original documents, look at real letters, look at real weapons, look at real everything. And how privileged we will all be to have that here. And it didn't just happen. It happened because of people like Gerry Lenfest who made it happen.
The Archdiocese of Philadelphia owned 78 acres of land which were within the boundary of the park in Valley Forge. I provided the funding for the Museum of the American Revolution to purchase the 78 acres in order to build our own private museum. It was difficult for us to get approval of the township to build a museum in the 78 acres.
So Gerry and I talked about it, and Gerry said, let's look for another location downtown. I'll never forget it, a cold Sunday afternoon, Martha, Gerry, and I went walking around looking at sites. And I said, what about the old visitor center? And everyone said, yeah, great, let's take a look at it.
I felt it was very important not only to have the museum, but also to have it located in the Philadelphia area, because Philadelphia was the founding city of the United States.
I have great affection for Philadelphia because there is really no other place in the country that is so emblematic of what made us the nation we are.
We liked the site, but we didn't have control of the site. And Gerry said, well, what happens if I were to donate the land out at Valley Forge to the Park Service?
He's just a remarkable leader of this organization. He's got an innate ability to understand an issue very quickly, and then he makes a decision.
So we entered into negotiations with the Park Service, and we had a very welcome group of meetings. I give great credit to original director Dennis Reidenbach, Secretary Salazar, but of all, Mary Bomar, who was the national director of the Park Service.
Normally, it takes a long time to exchange land in a national park. And recognizing the circumstances, we met in Washington. Gerry came in, and we were able to map out a framework for doing this land exchange on really an expedited basis.
The Park Service was very happy to receive the 78 acres, and we were very happy to have a new and better location within the historic district, where over 2 million visitors a year came. So it was perfect for us, perfect for them. We now have a very close and cooperative relationship with the National Park Service.
We signed contractual papers to make the land event official, and it was a very emotional moment because we knew that the only thing that stood between us and having a great museum was our ability to go forth and raise the money.
I couldn't be more pleased and more thankful for all those that have supported what will become a great museum and a great legacy for the founding of this great nation.
There's no way that we fellow board members or our great staff could ever repay Gerry. Without Gerry, this project would never have gotten off the ground. And we're lucky to have Gerry and Marguerite as citizens of the greater Philadelphia region. Not just because they give, and their giving has been incredibly impactful, but because of who they are. They're self-effacing, humble, modest people.
I look at it as an opportunity to do what you hope is in the best use of your wealth. And so I've tried to do that, including the Museum of the American Revolution. The most important thing is not how much money you've made, how many cars you have, how many yachts you have, but how you feel about yourself. And I feel pretty good.
I think the world of him. I loved working with him because I love the man. And of course, I believe fervently in what he has been trying to accomplish. To me, he's pure gold himself.